Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I want to show you something that I actually um, discovered that how most people say 3D games, okay, 3D games on Mame4droid. Let me put the camera down so I can try to do some, put the camera again. Well, what is that going to say is that now most people will say, okay, it is not recommended to play 3D games on Mame4droid because I know even with a high-end device, I know they said don't expect to run, certain games like 3D, or something that's new, that's not old. But if people wanted to play certain games like, like Tekken 1, Tekken 2, or PlayStation arcade-based, PlayStation arcade-based, hardware that's based off the Sony PlayStation. Like some games that's not too much 3D. But I want to show you. I'm trying to focus this so you can see. See, highlighted Cruis'n USA. I want to show you and see how it works. Just so people, just give this a go, Yeah, I don't want to see all these menus. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click to. Might do some terrible because I can't hold the phone and control stuff at the same time, so I'm not good at that. Cruis'n USA is now launched, and it's about almost at full speed, as you can see. Even though it kind of lags a little bit, but I'll probably turn the frame skip to 10, I think, because when you play games with certain games that's up to 10% on auto frame skip, some of the games might be unplayable with that part, so I'm going to show you how it plays. Sorry, hang on. I wouldn't do very, very aggressive. I'll probably slow down some of the game. Probably has some more sound issues. See, it runs at near full speed. I know it's choppy because of the auto frame skip options on. But once you turn it off, I think it's going to be a little smoother. See, it's running pretty good. It's near playable. Well, it's almost playable because of the frame rate and yeah, arcade version on Mame4droid. Yeah, so I do have the N64 version, but I prefer playing the arcade version because it's much better. And I'm gonna show you another game. So that's good. Cruis'n World now. I love this game. Even on the N64 version is really, really the best. But I like playing the arcade version more. I don't know why I just like playing the arcade version more. That's just me. Because I love arcade games, so, but I just like to play arcade. The N64 version is pretty good. It's arcade perfect. Thanks to Eurocom, who actually worked on that conversion. I mean, they shouldn't hire Williams to do the N64 version because I know they had to downgrade some of the stuff that's not featured in the N64 version from the arcade. So, and you can see it's running. Like I said, it's same as Cruis'n. It's Cruis'n USA. It's choppy. And I haven't tested out War Gods. I'm sure War Gods is going to run exact the same speed. If you put on speed hacks, I'll do aggressive, I recommend. If you want it to run at a decent speed. Yeah. You can see, I don't know if you can see, but it says 70 to 80. So, some people say, is it possible to play 3D games on the Ouya using Mame4droid? Yes, it is. Now, I'm going to show you another game that I've been doing some testing on some of these games. Let's find, another game that I actually discovered that actually runs almost well. Uh, all the way down. I'm trying to remember the name of it because sometimes I get confused with some certain. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, here it is. Soul Edge. Version 2. Version point 2. Yeah, see that little dot? I'm gonna see if it works with speak, so I'm gonna put the camera down because I can't. I had to control certain things using the controller and the camera, like I mentioned. I mentioned that earlier. So, it should be coming in the. Here we go. All right. Like I mentioned, is that this game runs on the Namco. Sorry, y'all. I can't hold the camera too. Okay, it's a Namco System for the System 11, 12. I don't know. I got confused with this because Namco has made Namco System 10, 11, and 12 because they're all PlayStation based hardware. So I'm guessing this is the Namco System. I gotta research, but it's somewhere between. I mean, it's gotta be 10, 11. I don't know. But yeah, Namco has been making art. It's running on the same hard. Yeah, this game runs on the same hardware as the first Tekken and Tekken 2. So, all right, let's see. Let's see how's it gonna run. It's a little slow because of the speed hacks it's enabled. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and change up, see how's it gonna run. Uh, it runs a little faster when you put it on aggressive. I mean, on hard. I mean, not hard. High. If you put it on high, it'll be a little faster. Then you just put it on very. Because some games will cause slowdowns. Because I was testing out some some Sega System 32 games. They kind of, when I enable speed hacks on Jurassic Park, for some reason it's kind of jerky. Like when I was playing Dark Edge and some of the other games, they're kind of jerky when you enable. So I'll probably just do the overclock the CPU, which is a cheat feature. If you actually enable cheats, as a feature of Mame, you can actually overclock the game CPU, which is pretty cool because some of the games I played in here that kind of really, 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 really slow, and it kind of frustrates me. Got the whole thing. Okay, I'm gonna show another game that's typically near playable. Okay. It's not really. Okay, well, yeah, it runs pretty good. let's play. Well, we're not gonna play, but we're gonna. This is Winning Run 91. This is one of the most successful Namco racing games that uses the Namco System 21 arcade hardware that features flat shading graphics similar to Sega's Model 1 hardware and Atari's hard driving hardware. As you can see, it's running almost at a recent, almost at almost full speed. You can see, yeah. So, yeah, I know I haven't calibrated any controls on this game, but it runs near perfect. Especially if you turn off frame skip and then you do the speed hacks. I haven't tried speed hacks, but I'm just gonna get like a, you know, I'll probably do some research about certain games like this is because there's no compatibility list. Well, yeah, but I think there is a compatibility list because they'll let you know that's because most emulators they have like a compatibility list just to let you know which game runs, but not every game doesn't run. Depends on the version of the emulator you got. Depends on the game. So not every game is going to run. Alright, now I want to try this game out. I'm going to try out a few games after this. This is Area 51. And yes, I know it's not basically a 2D game, but it has some full motion video that's rendered in 3D, which I don't think it counts as a 3D game. But yeah, so this is Area 51. I have the PlayStation version. I know I previously showed you the PlayStation version on my video on my channel. I'm gonna turn speed hacks on so that way it can speed up a little bit. Probably do aggressive or high if you wanted to run at full speed. If you want the sound. Sometimes when you enable very aggressive on some games will have speed problems. As you can see, it's running pretty good. I mean, it's jerky, but however, it's pretty good. See, as you can see, you can actually shoot really easily, but you got some frame drops on some parts of this game. So. Okay, I'm gonna try a similar game, Max Force. Also have the PlayStation version as well. Just want to see how these arcade games are gonna. Just want to see how they're gonna run on this thing, especially for the Ouya. Okay. Do aggressive or high, either or, but I won't go way too high because sometimes it'll cause slowdown in game, like in the game, probably slow down. Oops, wrong button. See, I'm not really good holding the camera in because, especially with Mame, especially if you use the controller, because you have a lot of controls, but I use the PlayStation 3 controller, so that way it won't be as laggy as the Ouya controller. You can see it's kind of like the same speed as Area 51 if you put on speed hacks. See how I moved the crosshair? It's running a bit smooth earlier, but see now it's a little broken up because of the frame rate. But it shouldn't be that bad. Now I don't know how this is gonna run on your Android devices, like your phones and tablets, depending on your specs, your CPU. Now the most important thing is your CPU because Mame is actually more on the CPU than your GPU, so it's rendered everything in software instead of hardware acceleration, so has nothing to do with your GPU. However, it does OpenGL if you have Mame on your PC. It does like direct 3D, but it actually goes straight to the CPU. So even though every release of Mame is slow, that's why they use another version of Mame4droid which is basically for people who don't have the fastest devices. Like if you have a low end device, like a if your device is a 1 gig processor, that's what they use the older versions for. However, they mentioned on the Mame4droid info on the Google Play Store app store, they said something about Mortal Kombat and Outrun and Mortal Kombat are badly optimized. So they said something about at least a 1.5 gigahertz dual core quad core processor. But Outrun and Mortal Kombat runs flawlessly on this thing. I mean, it just runs pretty at full speed. I didn't have to do no frame skip, no speed hacks or nothing. It's just the way it is. Because I know people with recent versions of Mame, each game is slow. Because not every game is going to run at full speed. Especially if you play games with 3D, that's going to slow down your system. So yeah, most people said it's recommended to play 2D games on Mame4droid, but most 3D games, they run pretty good. Cruis'n USA is almost playable, which is pretty nice. I'm glad to see this game in the Cruis'n World and Soul Edge and I'm glad that Area 51 and Max Force actually run pretty good if you enable speed hacks, which is pretty impressive. Because I usually turn off the frame skip for most certain games, that way it'll be much playable. And yeah, I just want to show you that is it possible to play 3D games on Mame4droid? It certainly is. Well, certainly it is. Depending on what game, because most games are actually CPU intensive. Like most people said, will Ridge Racer will run on this thing? Well, to be honest, I haven't tried to play Ridge Racer. Well, oh yeah, never mind. I did. I was thinking about another game. Never mind. But yeah, Ridge Racer. Okay. Let me do one more. Okay, let me show you a game. And yes, I know we have an emulator that plays this game really well, but you can see it. It says Sega Rally Championship. Yeah, some people said, LOL, how could you play Sega Rally in this thing? Well, I know we have the Sega Model 2 arcade emulator, but I just want to see how it runs. It's actually playable, to be honest. I'm serious. If you enable speed hacks, yeah, it's well, almost playable. Trust me, you'll see. I'm gonna go. Excuse me. I know, that was like, what? I know, sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to fart. I didn't mean to blow up right here. Yeah, I had a big meal today. Ferrari fan is so full that he can actually eat a full meal. Yeah. Just blow it, guy. I got just blow some. Alright. Enough of that fart talk. Sorry. But anyway, you see how it's running? Though you can see it's running smooth. Watch this. Now it may have some frame drops. If you enable, like I said, if you enable speed hack, some games will actually have frame drops. It depends on the game you're trying to play. See, I know it has graphical glitches. Most people say, yeah, it's recommended to use the Model 2 emulator for this. As you can see, it's running. It's almost playable. I mean, well, it's playable right now, but sometimes it'll have some drops. It has some slowdown, I know, because I just enable speed hacks. And now some games I tested out, like Hot Chase, for example. Now this is a game called Hot Chase. Now it plays slow if you actually enabled. I mean, if it's the CPU is enabled, like instead of overclocking or doing anything. Now I had some slowdown because I don't think that's no, I don't know if it's true to the original because I know some games have speed problems and they still run at 100%, but they still got speed problems without enabling speed hacks. I think it's the game's internal timing is incorrect. I guess the game has speed issues, but yeah. So I was gonna show you two Sega Model 1 games I tested out: Wing War and Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter. Oh, never mind. No, sorry. Virtua Fighter and Virtua Racing are unplayable in this version. If you use the mobile version of Mame, because I don't think they haven't, and I don't think they haven't done any fixes or improvements on those games. But however, Wing War and Star Wars Arcade are playable, and they actually run at a reasonable speed. They actually run pretty well. But if you leave it on frame skip, it'll actually run at full speed. But however, you still got some choppiness. But hey. Yeah, so this video say, is it possible to run? Yeah, well, some games, but I wouldn't play San Francisco Rush in here if I were you because, oh, geez, that's gonna run slow. I mean, yeah, seriously. And so don't even think about trying to play Daytona USA 2 and Scud Race. So I wouldn't recommend playing those games because that is gonna be slow, and I can imagine the thing blows up when you play, but yeah, I was joking. It's not gonna blow up, but just use the Supermodel 3 emulator instead to play Daytona USA 2 at Scud Race. And try, remember that if you think this game is going to run at full speed, just make sure that it actually it runs on that hardware pretty good, because not every game is going to run pretty well. It all depends on the hardware that you have, like with CPU. Most important thing with Mame is your CPU. With certain games, like you have trouble running, that is the most way to do it. So Mame has nothing to do with your graphics card. It has nothing to do with video. All it has to do is it does video, because some people say they got sync problems with their monitors. So that's why they actually have like unofficial versions of Mame for, modifications, like Cab Mame, for example, and Groovy Mame. I think, yeah, they actually have example of those unofficial builds of Mame. So anyway, guys, so sorry it's taking me a little. Sorry it's taking long for me to. Well, it's because I'm just trying to tell you some more information on how's this game going to, like how's these 3D games are going to run on this thing. But they run, and I can't believe, I'm surprised that Cruis'n, because I thought Cruis'n wasn't going to run at all. On my PC, it runs about like a decent speed, like over 60 frames per second. And when I tested out here, I was like, it just blew my mind. I mean, Cruis'n plays almost really perfect, which is pretty great. So I'm just gonna cut off. Sign off. So if you have any questions or comments, you're always welcome. But I do not accept any rude comments. I don't tolerate bad language, all that stuff. So just as long as there's nothing wrong that you're gonna, it's as long as you say nice things, like don't try to be too crazy about stuff. So anyway, Spartan 68 signing off. Thanks for watching.